Hi, my name is Rakesh Piran. I'm currently enrolled at National University and I'm working on my master's towards Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Today I'll be talking about domestic terrorism. Understand domestic terrorism threats, tactics, and data-driven strategies. The definition of domestic terrorism. Domestic terrorism involves violent acts committed within a country to promote ideological goals rooted in political, racial, religious, or environmental motives. These acts target communities, institutions, or symbols of societal change, creating widespread fear and division. Understanding domestic terrorism is important because it directly impacts societal safety and cohesion. The threat landscape has evolved, with ideological violence increasing fear and division within communities worldwide. Society's response influence social resilience and stability. Recognizing these dangers enables policymakers and law enforcement to develop targeted, research-based strategies and balance security with civil liberty. Effective prevention reduces violence, societal anxiety, polarization, and mistrust, helping foster social cohesion and democratic stability. This broad definition helps law enforcement recognize threat across diverse ideological spheres. Society feels the trauma of mass violence, leading to fear, social fractures, and mistrust, especially when communities perceive unfair targeting or surveillance. Let's talk about Christchurch attack. In 2019, Christchurch attack by Brendan Tarrant, motivated by white supremacist ideology, was live streamed online, illustrating how social media facilitates radicalization. It shocks societies worldwide, sparking debate about online extremism, platform responsibility, and hate speech regulation. So more on this attack. It demonstrates how online radicalization can lead to mass violence, heightening fears amongst minorities and religious communities. Government responded by tightening online content control, increasing vigilance, and initiating global dialogue on hate speech regulations. The societal impact includes increased racial and religious tension, heightening community awareness, and call for greater online moderation. It also underscores the urgent need to address online spaces as battlegrounds of ideological extremism mostly improves across the globe and within the country. Next, we're going to talk about major tactics used by domestic terrorists. Tactics include firearms, bombing, cyber attacks, and live streaming, evolving from protests to organized violence. Targets often include government buildings, religious sites, minority communities, and symbols of societal change. These tactics increase lethality and societal impact. Live streaming the cyber tactics expand reach, inspiring copycats and causing widespread trauma. Recognizing these methods help law enforcement anticipate threat and adapt security protocols, but it fuels societal anxiety, fear, and polarization as communities feel more vulnerable to violence. Next, we'll talk about evolution of tactics and targets. Tactics have shifted towards mass shooting, vehicle attack, and cyber operations. Target include vulnerable communities like minority groups, religious centers, religious communities, and societal symbols, deepening societal division. This evolution caused societal trauma, fuel racial and religious tension, and destabilizing social cohesion. Mass shooting targeting minority or religious groups increase polarization, while cyber attack threatens critical infrastructure. Recognizing these shifts help authority develop adaptive strategies to prevent future violence and uphold societal stability. Next, we'll talk about ideological differences: far right, far left, and jihadist extremists. Far right extremists target minorities and government symbols driven by racial or nationalist belief. Jihadist extremists focus on Western military and civilian targets, often employing coordinated attacks. So more on this, different ideologies driven distinct tactics and societal impacts. Far-right violence increase racial tension and hate crimes. As per jihadist attacks foster religious and cultural polarization, but this could go both ways also. Recognizing these differences enables law enforcement to craft tailored responses, community outreach, and prevent programs fostering societal resilience against divisive narrative and violence. Next, we'll talk about data for security and law enforcement. Crime reports, social media analysts, weapon purchase records, and attack histories are important for threat assessment. Analyzing patterns help identify threat early, allocate resources, and prevent violence. So more on this is effective data collection improve threat detection, but raises privacy concerns, right? Transparent, fair use foster public trust is important for communities' cooperation. Data-driven strategies can prevent attacks, but must balance security with civil liberty to avoid societal backlash and maintain societal trust. So in that way, in a sense, you just have to make sure that for them to, or for you to be monitored in a way, in shape, or form is not affecting your amendment rights or any violation of that. Next, developing realistic threat plans. Threat plans should incorporate data analysis, community engagement, and adaptable security measures. Interagency cooperation and continuous threat reassessment are important for effective counterterrorism. So more on that is flexible community involvement strategies foster trust and resilience. So when communities are engaged, early threat detection improve, reducing societal fear. Overly aggressive measures or lack of transparency can foster mistrust, societal difference, and resistance, making balanced adaptive planning very important for societal stability. This is kind of tricky because you have to make sure that the guys who are actually enforcing the law, like the law enforcement personnel, they are actually following the rules and they're not endangering anyone, or they're not in a sense violating anyone's rights, put it in a right sense. Next is challenges and biases in addressing domestic threats. Online radicalization, societal polarization, and legal constraints complicate threat mitigation. Biases and double standards hinder fair threat assessment and enforcement. So more on this is biases, racial, religious, or political, can lead to community alienization, right? You have to make sure that the law enforcement guys are doing the right thing and they're not, in a sense, they're not doing anything in a cowboy sense. There are follow the rules of regulation and abiding by people's rights. Because this increasing radicalization and social unrest, fair unbiased threat assessment foster community trust, right? While overreach or profiling risk deepening societal divides. Addressing these biases is important for society cohesion. Next, we're going to look at future trends in domestic terrorism. Societal fragmentation and weak governance increase exploitation by extremists. Monitoring online radicalization and social tension will be critical for prevention. So societies facing polarization, economic instability, and political unrest are more vulnerable to extremism. Building societal cohesion, resilience, and effective intelligence sharing are important to counteract these trends to prevent violence and unrest. As we can see, like in some states, there's a lot of tension. Like everyone see on the news, like on Minnesota, right? We have to make sure that law enforcement are following the rules, and also people are abiding by the orders given to them in a respectful manner. So you go both ways. So to wrap this up, a conclusion recommendation. Effective counterterrorism depends on research-based understanding, data analysis, and community partnership. Ongoing adaptation for new tactics and ideological shifts is important for security agency. So investing in communities, trust technology tools, continuous research, enhanced threat detection and prevention. Failure to adapt may lead to increased societal division, fear, and insecurity. A balance is needed. A balanced, flexible approach fosters resilience and social cohesion. On my PowerPoint for the references, like these references, this personally read all of these. It was a lot. It was the 5, but it's a lot of pages, and I think that it covers the broad spectrum of the topic. Thank you very much, and have a great day. This is me for my presentation.